Alright guys, welcome back to the Dark Souls Remastered walkthrough, Indiana Jones style. We are going to take on one of the 4 bosses in the DLC. This one is called the Sanctuary Guardian. He shoots lots of lightning, he's got a multitude of attacks with his claws, and he's got a tail whip that will poison you instantly if you get hit. But he's very susceptible when he lands on the ground after an air attack. And also you got to watch out, always when he does that wind attack, always dodge to the right. And don't shoot a bolt after it, because you'll see what happens there. He will go immediately into his horn attack, which will cause a lot of damage. So right here, he'll do it right here. So just do a... When he does that wind attack, you can go in for a whip attack. Just do a charging whip attack there. Sometimes he'll do 2, sometimes he'll do 4 of those claw attacks. And if he flies over your head like that, he's going to either shoot lightning or he's going to prep his tail attack. Now if he flies like this, he's going to shoot a big ball of lightning, which is rather easy to dodge. You just wait for the last second and dodge. Now right here is the other one. He does his little charge. Always dodge that, and he's going to prep for his tail whip. Just dodge it out of the way, don't get hit. Basically, you're never going to attack him initially. You're going to wait for him to do a specific attack, and then you're going to attack. This is a very aggressive boss, so you want to make sure you have a good window and know when to attack him. And like I said, when he lands on the ground, he's very susceptible. So we're going to wait until he lands, and then we're going to pop some bolts into him. And if we have to do a close ranged attack, we're going to wait until he does a 4 claw attack. Don't wait for anything else. It's got to be a 4 attack. If it's 4 swings with his claws, then he'll be susceptible to an attack. See right here, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, so we can attack him. He will also do a chain lightning attack. It's 4 consecutive lightning bolts, and if you get hit by one, it's very likely you're going to hit by more than one. So 1, 2, here I get hit by 3. I get hit by 3 after I got hit by 1, so it's very important to avoid getting hit by that one. Now the reason I got hit was because I was late on my bolt attack, and it immobilized me, so you got to be very careful, and the timing is everything. So he's not doing his 4 attacks. Well, right here he hits us with 4, but if you get hit, just like the lightning attack, if you get hit by the first claw, you're going to get hit by more than one of them. So it's very important to not get hit by that first attack. But try not to initiate any attacks. Now if he's just kind of wandering back there, you might can pop a bolt into him. But generally he takes time to recover from his attacks. And I don't know why I didn't get hit by the horn there. Try not to dodge backwards like that. Always dodge to the right or left. Now you will get the Guardian Soul. Now the Guardian Soul will not give you a weapon or anything. It's just pure souls. If you wanted a weapon from the Guardian, you will have to get his tail, which we did not get here. And it's actually, it would be appropriate for an Indiana Jones build because it's a whip. It's a poison whip. But we didn't really go for it. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get. You only get like a few seconds of opportunity to get it. And now we have arrived in the Sanctuary. So make sure you get this bonfire. It's a very important bonfire. And we're going to kindle it all the way. So we're going to pop some humanity here. Now remember, whenever you want to get a bonfire to max, you're going to have at least 4 humanity if you're not human. If you're human, you only need 3. But we're not human here. The Sanctuary Guardian roughed us up a bit a few times off camera, so we got killed. So we had to use 4 humanity here. Now, this is the bonfire that's closest to the next boss. But we're not going to fight that boss in this video. We will fight him, but not right now. We are going to kill an NPC to get Indiana Jones' leather jacket, which is going to be the last piece of clothing for our build here. But we are still going to get the spiked gauntlets from Knight Kirk. Now, let's go visit a rather peculiar NPC. This is Elizabeth the Mushroom. Now, she is Princess Dusk's carekeeper. So you want to make good rapport with her because she sells you some nice items here. And if you rescue Princess Dusk, she will give you the most overpowered healing item in the game, which we definitely want for the Four Kings fight. So we're going to make sure that we answer yes to her and do whatever she says because we want those mushrooms. But we have to rescue Dusk first. Now here I'm going to equip the Ring of Steel Protection because you want to have some good defense for this next fight. We're going to fight the NPC to get our leather jacket. Now, I usually don't record my deaths, but I wanted to show you my death here because we're opening up a shortcut, and I didn't want to edit it and not show you the shortcut. So, this is the Royal Wood. It's a wide expanse of forest, and it's chock full of enemies. And when I say chock full, it is filled to the brim with enemies. It's got these giant stone guardians, which will beat the shit out of you with their stone axes. They're very hard to kill. And they're annoying as hell. And you have a variety of these grass enemies. Some of them have scissors, and some of them have pitchforks. Now, here we meet Kalameet, the Black Dragon. Yes, we will fight him, but not right now. He is a probably the best dragon fight in all of Dark Souls, in my opinion. And that's going for Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3. If you can, try to get this crystal lizard. He's kind of squirrely. Managed to get him here. We want to get a nice supply of Twinkling Titanite because we want to upgrade our spiked gauntlets as soon as we get them. Now, you can see I'm not really engaging in any of these enemies. I'm just trying to run to the next objective. And that's what I recommend you guys do because you could literally spend hours just fighting these enemies because there are so many of them and they're just a pain in the ass. So we are not going to fight them. We are going to run, run, run. So you want to make your way to this shortcut coming up. This is the area going to Knight Artorias right here. But this is not the actual shortcut. We will definitely open that before we even attempt to kill the NPC to get our leather jacket. So as soon as you walk out, you'll see the fog wall, but don't go to it. Instead, go to the right. There'll be a little bridge here leading to the NPC. Chester, Marvelous Chester is his name. We will deal with him shortly as he's wearing our jacket that we want. Open this shortcut. You could just roll off here as soon as you hit the switch there. Now, I do die here, and I'm going to show it to you guys. You want to use gold pine resin on your cestus to get a good head start on this guy because he's got a really good ranged attack. He's got a variety of ranged attacks which will do a lot of damage. He's also got a sweep attack. So you don't want to really get hit by that either because then it'll stun you. Then you'll get hit by the bolts. But here I make a mistake. And I should have just went ahead and healed. But I didn't. Here's where I make the mistake. I thought I could get behind cover here. I said, well, I'll just run to the tree. And he got me on my roll. So, yeah. But I also wanted to show you, how you can engage this guy if you were killed by him previously. So, we didn't edit this out. We kept our death in. Well, the main reason was I wanted to show you guys where the shortcut was. So, we opened the shortcut, but I didn't actually show you where it was from the bonfire. Now, even though we're not going for it, if you are running a sorcery build, you will be very interested in getting the chest that contains the blue Titanite slab on the way to the shortcut here. But it is guarded by multiple giants and some of those tree enemies. So they make you work for it. But if you really want it, you could kind of lure them away from it and just run and open the chest and then get it later. But it's kind of a pain in the ass to get, as well as the other blue Titanite slab, which later on is in the Crystal Caves, which we're not going for that either. But it's there if you want it. This building in ahead of us contains the shortcut that we opened up. So you just want to step on the plate. And if you're being charged by the enemies, you can kind of run into the back and wait for the elevator. go ahead and activate your gold pine resin and get ready to fight. Go ahead and start running in a zigzag pattern to avoid his bolts. Here, see, zigzag and zig and zag, and start wailing on him as soon as you get close to him, because he's going to be shooting and he's not going to really be in a position to attack you in melee combat yet. You see, there's his sweep. When he's doing his sweep, he's very susceptible to bolts. So use that to your advantage. Make sure you're using the large bolts. And I recommend getting on the bridge here and just kind of duking it out with him. And now we have our leather jacket. This completes our wardrobe clothing-wise. We still want the gauntlets, but now we actually have a leather jacket. Very appropriate for an Indiana Jones build. This is the closest I could find to an Indiana Jones wardrobe. Now that we have our leather jacket, let us go and get the Titanite slab so we can upgrade Avalon once we get it. We're going to get that in the next episode, though. So you want to come down here. This is the right behind where you originally came before you opened up the shortcut. And when you come down here, there's a few dogs. And I tried to run past some of them, and I regretted it because they will chase you all the way through. There is no fog wall here yet. This is an interesting area because the fog wall won't appear until Calamite comes and showers you with plenty of fire to kill you instantly. So as soon as you go, here's where the fog wall is, but it's not there. So the dogs can come right through, and I kind of underestimated them here. I don't die, but I came close. And I tried to get cheeky and get the crystal lizard right here, which I tried to do a little plunging attack, and I failed so miserably, as I missed here. Luckily, I landed on the ledge. Now, here's the thing. You want to stay to the far left, all the way to the left. You do not want to go anywhere else, because if you do, if you go too far over to the right, Calamite will shower the ground with fire and it will kill you instantly. But to advance the story, you have to have him shower the ground. So we're going to do that, but we're going to escape before he can kill us. So stay to the far left, and there's a waterfall, and behind that waterfall is the Titanite slab. It's not this one here, the next one. I kind of forgot where it was. But do not go too far to the right. He will come regardless, and it's kind of like on a timer, I think. So grab the slab and get the hell out of here. Especially because you don't want to lose those souls you just got from killing the NPC. Now, we can upgrade Avalon once we get it. So now we're going to go continue Sigmayr's quest. If you haven't talked to Sigmayr yet and got him to go to Blighttown, make sure you talk to him here. We're going to go ahead and show you right here. See, there's Sigmayr. If you haven't talked to him, go ahead and talk to him. Exhaust his dialogue. And once you have, you can warp to the Daughters of Chaos bonfire. Now, before you go to Blighttown, make sure you have at least 3 purple moss clumps, because without them, you cannot advance Sigmayr's quest. He literally gets stuck without any purple moss, and you have to save him again. So, get 3 purple moss clumps, and then come back to Blighttown. So again, we have some dead time while we're walking to the next objective. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to do for the rest of this video, and a little bit about what we're going to do in the next video. So for the rest of this video, we're going to continue Sigmayr's quest as we're doing now. Then we're going to go to the Duke's Archives. And if you haven't got the Rare Ring of Sacrifice yet, make sure you have it, or at least, at the very least, make sure you have a Purging Stone, which if you've been following this guide, you know you already have one, because we gave the item to Snuggly the Crow earlier, the Cracked Red Eye Orb, and we got one, because you're going to get cursed, and there's no getting around it. You're going to die. It's a scripted death. Unless you do an extremely hard skip, which I have tried to do, and I just can't do it. It's a speed running trick where you can skip the entire segment, but I just don't think it's appropriate for a guide because it's a very hard thing to do. It's extremely difficult for me. I know some people can do it, but I've tried. Trust me, I have tried to do the elevator skip in Duke's Archives, and I just can't do it. So we're not going to include that as part of this walkthrough. But you're going to get cursed by the boss, most likely. And you're going to be put in a prison where you can't warp to any other bonfire. You're stuck, basically. So you want to make sure you have at least a Purging Stone or the Rare Ring of Sacrifice. I recommend the Rare Ring of Sacrifice because you won't lose anything anyway. You won't lose your souls or your humanity, and more importantly, you won't be cursed. Now, before we go to Sigmar, I said that we were going to buy a few items from Shiva here. You can learn his gesture if you want. We're going to get the Eastwood Grain Ring and the Uchi Katana. We're not going to use the Uchi Katana. We are going to upgrade it to plus 10, and then we're going to take it to the blacksmith in Anor Londo, and we're going to use Qualag's soul to craft it into my favorite weapon in the game, the Chaos Blade. And the reason I'm doing this is because, you know, if I want to play this game on this file later, I want to have the Chaos Blade because it's my favorite weapon. So, but this is an Indiana Jones walkthrough, and he doesn't have a... Well, I guess technically in the Temple of Doom he had a sword, but we're not going to use it in this walkthrough, though. Now, you want to stick to the right here, and make sure you don't have any leeches following you or any bugs, because they can still attack you while you're talking to Sigmar. And you definitely don't want to accidentally hit Sigmar, and then you'll have to get absolution and all that, so no. Make sure you just kill the first one here, closest to him, and just try not to aggro anything else. He's always sleeping. He's like a big, I don't know, Winnie the Pooh, some people have mentioned. Make sure you give him the purple moss. Make sure you answer yes. He'll give you the pierce shield. Now, we're going to just bone out here. Make sure you exhaust his dialogue, though. Just bone out. Now, we don't have the warp unlocked to Duke's Archives, so the closest warp we have is Anor Londo, where the Firekeeper is. So we're going to warp to Anor Londo, and thank God we don't have to deal with those stupid boars anymore since we killed them before when we unlocked the DLC, getting the broken pendant. So it's pretty much a straight shot, and we're not going to engage any enemies. We're going to run because the enemies in Duke's Archives are the hardest in the entire game, in my opinion. They're very strategically placed. They hit the hardest of any of the enemies in the game, and they'll come at you in droves. So you really just don't want to have any unnecessary fights, because they can also get buffed as well. That's why they hit the hardest, because they can be buffed as well. The Chandlers will buff them, and the Chandlers can hit you hard too. And it's just, there's archers everywhere. There's magic hitting you. It's tough, man. It can be really hard, and we don't have a shield, so we can't just go in there and block stuff. We have to be very careful. But for this part, we're going to just run, because that's the best strategy for what we have right now. And plus, we just want to get to the boss and sacrifice ourselves. Now, even though we're going to the Duke's Archives, this doesn't mean we're going to complete it in its entirety and get the Lord Soul from Seath. There are 4 Lord Souls we have to get in order to get to the end of the game. And this is one of them, but we're not going to do it just yet. Our only objective here is to continue Sigmar's quest and to get Avalon. Those are our 2 objectives, and then we're going to leave, and then we're going to go into the fiery pits of Izalith. Lost Izalith and the Demon Ruins. The reason we want to go to the Demon Ruins after this is because we got to continue Sigmar's quest yet again. We're trying to complete Sigmar's quest before we kind of continue the story, basically. Now, this elevator will take you into I don't even know how to say it. It's a gauntlet. When you go up here, it's a gauntlet. There's enemies coming at you from left and right. There's this archer up on the stairs. There's a Chandler. There's the Crystal Golem on the right. You know, we were here earlier when we got the broken pendant, but this time we're just going to run, run, run. Do your best Forrest Gump impression and run. It's very easy to just run all the way and not engage in any of these enemies. Don't get distracted by the shiny behind the stairs. It's not worth it. Just run up here and whip this guy. Usually we'll take about 2 shots there and then get to the elevator as soon as possible. There is no advantage to sticking around here. Now, like I said, there's an elevator skip here. I can't show it to you guys. Look it up on YouTube. It's hard to do. Make sure you equip the rare ring of sacrifice. Very important here. The rare ring of sacrifice will ensure that you don't lose your humanity, your souls, and more importantly, you will not be cursed. Now, if you just use the ring of sacrifice, you can still be cursed. So just use the rare ring of sacrifice. You should have it by now. Now, there's one enemy here that's guarding the way to Seath. You can just parry him. I had a little trouble with my whip with this guy. For my lock-on just wasn't hitting him. They can hit quite hard because they have crystal weapons. Now, crystal weapons do the most damage in the entire game as far as physical attacks, which is why we are going to craft a crystal cestus to kill the final boss. Yeah, you kind of just try to get him out here. You can heal right here if you have to. He's real slow. He does the fat roll. You can see, if you're too close, you're not going to be able to whip him, as I was failing miserably there. You can get his set later if you want it, but it's not for a while. Now, just stand there and take it like a man. You can't do anything to Seath. You basically have to sit there and wait. You'd make sure to get this crystal lizard if you can get it. Hopefully get some twinkling titanite out of it. Yep. Now, like I said, just stand there and take it like a man. There's really nothing else you can do. It's a very... It's very interesting the developers did this, because most players are going to think, oh, this is the fight. This is the boss fight. No, it's a trick. But the fog wall remains even after you get through prison. So you'll come back here thinking that this is the way you got to go. It was a very cheeky trick by the developers. As you can see, I did get cursed here. But fortunately, I have the rare ring of sacrifice on, and not going to be cursed. But yeah, the developers did a fast one on you here. We're now in prison. And you cannot get out of here by warping from the bonfire to another bonfire. This bonfire is cut off from all of the bonfires. Seath wanted to make sure you were trapped. So we have no choice but to escape. So to do that, this very conveniently placed lizard will have the key. Just hit him once through the bars. Now, as soon as you open this door, you'll be greeted to a very ominous sound. And if you don't turn off the sound, you're going to have to hear it all the way through Duke's Archives. Now, these guys are running. They're not going to engage you. They're going to go up the ladder. They don't want to fight you. And you're probably wondering why. You'll find out shortly, because you're going to run into them. Basically, these are maidens that have been transformed into ghastly beings, octopus-looking things, by Seath the Scaleless. His experiments. He experiments on these women. And if you go into one of the cells down at the bottom of the stairs, you can hear 2 of them that are crying. They're aware of what's happened to them. And they don't engage you. So they're quite easy to kill, though. A couple of bolts, take them out. They can grab you and shoot some water at you. But this is what the serpents were running from. So we need to get a key here, so that we can kind of make this area a little bit easier. Because there's a bit of a gauntlet that's guarding the key and the lever to shut off the music. So you want to open up one of these doors. It's not this one yet. Once you open up one of these doors, there'll be a drop-off, and you'll be able to get the key that you need. I believe it's this room here. If you want to engage in these crystal hollows, whip and bolt combo works well, or backstabbing them with the cestus will also work. But their crystal weapons will hit hard, and they don't take as much damage. As you can see, our weapons aren't doing that much damage because crystal enemies are tough. They're tougher. Better defenses, better offenses. Here's your drop off, and here's the key that you need. The Archive Extra Prison Key. This guy nearly got me, didn't he? Little cheeky bastard. And just whip him into the corner. Alright. We want to go back to our original cell. And there's like another door you can go to. And here's your grab attack. I'm gonna stab you with some kind of stinger, like a stingray. Now they have a high humanity drop rate. If you have maximum discovery, you can farm this. This is a good area for farming, actually, for humanity. Probably one of the better areas in the entire game. Even better than the rats because it takes less time to do. So keep that in mind if you want to farm for humanity. This is a great place to do it. At the bottom of the stairs where the cell is. Yeah, so you want to go back to your cell. All the way up. Now those serpents will come back down the ladders once this song or the ominous music has been turned off. They will come back. So bear that in mind. Now before you can get to the door, you're going to be treated to 3 crystal hollows here. And the good thing about the whip is it can hit enemies behind each other, so you can hit multiple enemies at once. Whip is actually an underrated weapon in my opinion. It has very good use. Sure, it's not like one of those great swords or anything, but it can still be useful. And I went all the way to New Game Plus 8 on my Switch, so I know that you can still, even with all the extra health pools that they get, you can still win with this build. 4 Kings, however, that's a different story. We'll get to that later. This is why it's the hardest boss in the entire game. So you got to be careful here. Don't fall too far to the left. You want to make sure you can kind of jump down. If you want to, you can go ahead and pull the lever, which I kind of recommend because you're going to have to hear that shit all the way through the Duke's Archives. I actually didn't do it here. The key is the most important thing to get here. So you want to make sure you just run and get it. You might take a few hits along the way, but make sure you get the key and get the hell out of here. Even though these enemies, you've dealt with them before, once they gang up on you here, it's easy for you to die. Now, like I said, I just ran past the lever. I actually came back and turned it off camera, but if you want to do it, you can do it, but it's not 100% necessary. All it does is it makes these maidens that have been transformed, it makes them hostile. Once the music is off, they're not hostile anymore, which is why the serpents come back, because they're not being chased by them. So now we're going to make our way to the top of the staircase where the serpents went. Now we are going to be interested in coming back to this area later once we get a specific key. It's in the cell where the maidens are down there, but we didn't go in there. But once we have the key, we'll be able to open up the door that will lead to another Firekeeper soul, which is, we definitely want to get that. We can only get a maximum of 6 Firekeeper souls in this playthrough. It maxes out at 7, but we can't get 7 in this playthrough. If there's a way, I haven't figured it out. Because you have to kill the Firekeepers to get their souls, but you still need a Firekeeper to reinforce your flask. So I haven't really figured it out a way to get all of them. I don't think it's possible. So 6 is going to be your top. But yeah, if you are a sorcery build, this area is vitally important to maxing out all of your spells with Logan and everything. But like I said, we didn't even do Logan's quest. We didn't even save him originally. So we're not interested in that. You want to make sure you equip the Chloranthy ring because you're going to be doing a lot of running here. No engagement, just run. You're going to run straight ahead and turn left. There's an enemy off to the right here. Just ignore him. This archer will fire at you, but you can easily dodge him. You just want to run. That's the only thing. We're running to the bonfire, and that's going to be the episode. So this area will be talked about in greater detail in the next episode. It can be kind of complicated, actually. There's some staircases you have to move and stuff like that. But I am going to show you a trick to getting Avalon the easy way. There is an easy way to get it, and I highly recommend getting it the easy way. It's a pain in the ass to get it the normal way. Now stay to the left here, knock out this chair because it's going to block you. And that's going to be it, guys. I'll see you guys in part 11 of the Dark Souls Remastered walkthrough.